At what point did you start thinking about life after football?
After the trade after I got released from Houston.
Okay.
I got released from Houston, and I ended up signing with the Falcons.
Okay.
And at that point, I was like, you know what? I don't want to have to pick up and move all the time.
Right.
So I had to start thinking about life after football, but I didn't immediately. You know, I still was playing, and Atlanta was such a fun city to play for, and starting and having a great time, making a lot of money. So I didn't think about it then. It didn't really happen till maybe 2 years after I retired.
Got you. And what were you thinking about doing? Like, what ideas did you have?
Oh my goodness, man. Athletes really don't know. I honestly didn't know. I got a degree in education. And, you know, teachers, you know, when I started taking the GATE test in Georgia and learning how much teachers make, and I was like, no way. This is
unfortunately,
sad.
that's
you know,
sad
a teacher make $40,000 a year.
Right.
I was making at the time $70,000 a week.
Right.
You know, I need food stamps and everything, man.
Right.
At 40,000. So at that point, I went into a small phase of depression. I really did, because I didn't know what was next in life, you know. And then I reached out, a guy by the name of Andy Schroeder, you probably saw that on my YouTube clip, reached out to me. You know, they teach NFL guys resume building skills, and put them in front of companies that hire athletes.
Okay.
And I didn't know this existed. Like, I didn't even know Fortune 500 companies literally seek athletes. Like, they will hire an athlete in a heartbeat, because they know athletes are coachable. They know if they made it to where they made it to as a pro, or even on a college level, it has to be some structure, discipline, and extreme focus. And this guy is not going to come into my organization and rewrite the playbook.
Right.
He's used to following the playbook.
Right. What's that organization called?
It's called the Bridge to Success with the NFL.
Okay. So they have like different opportunities in different fields, and is that how it works?
Yep. So they bring guys in and they put you in front of Fortune 500 companies, and you'll do like mock interviews the day before, and then the organization will present the job offers.
Okay.
And then you can sign up for different times of that next day to interview for those positions.
Okay. So it's like preparatory, like they're preparing you for the workforce and they're giving you opportunities as well.
Man, they hiring people on the site.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. So what type of jobs?
Man, sales and insurance, working for Pepsi, Nike, Adidas, UPS, a lot of Fortune 5, any position, from sales to marketing to, dispatching to whatever.
Did you know anybody else who went through that program aside from yourself?
No, I at the time, no, not when I signed up for it. No.
Okay, got you. So talk about it. So you go to that program. What happens next?
Man, it was life changing. You know, to see all of these other athletes going through the same thing that I was going through, trying to figure out what's next in life. Just to see those guys from different ages. It was guys 60 years old still trying to figure out what to do next in life. Because you got to think about it, man, these guys been phenomenal athletes since they were 7 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all they know. And people been babying them and pampering them their whole life. And it's like, this is a whole new world.
Right.
It's a whole new
How do you deal with that emotionally? Because when you're an athlete, you're on the top, right? Especially like most athletes have been at the top for their whole life. Like they probably were like high school athletes, to college, so forth. So you're always used to being at the top. And then you kind of like get this like reality check of like, all right, now you have to be just like everybody else.
Man, it's tough. It is tough. I'm gonna tell you a true story. I was at LA Fitness, still thinking I had a chance. Just about a year and a half after my retirement, Achilles injury took me out. I was rehabbing, feeling good. And one day I laid back on the bench, head buzz in, lift that weight. And I said to myself, you have no reason to do this anymore. Dude, I set that weight down. I went out to my car and I cried for about 2 hours.
Wow.
It was tough.
Wow.
It was tough to
So that's
moment.
when you realize it, like, you know what? Why am I even here? Because I'm not competing at that level anymore. So I need to, if anything, shift my focus to something else.
Best day of my life. Best day of my life.
So what happened? Where do we shift our focus?
And then I went to that symposium with the retired athletes. The keynote speaker was George Willis.
Okay.
George Willis at the time was running UPS Atlanta.
Okay.
He was just talking about transportation. I see this young African-American man running UPS Atlanta. I'm like, oh my God. And my grandfather, retired truck driver. My dad's a retired truck driver. So I'm looking, all I was thinking was trucks when I think of transportation.
Right.
And I'm like, this man run UPS Atlanta. And at the time, he couldn't have been no more than 40, right? Young man, it's 2012. And I shook his hand because he just sparked something. I don't know what it was. Just transportation just immediately clicked, and I shook his hand. And he said, and I told him, thank you for his speech, and he was like, man, just attack whatever you do in life, just like you attack sports, and you'll be okay.
Simple.
That's simple. I'm like, and all I did was worked
Right.
to get where I got.
Right.
So and I put my head down, and he don't know, and this was 2012.
Yeah.
I started interning for a trucking company out of South Carolina. I interned as a dispatcher
Okay.
for 6 months.
Okay.
Learned that, loved it. Took his company from profiting about $2,500 a week per unit to over $3,000. Then they wanted to hire me on full time, and I was like, "No, man, I want to learn more."
Yeah.
And then I interned for another company called A.D. Johnson Company. I worked in safety, compliance, accounts receivable, payables, and then I was a continuing dispatcher as well. And I was running the drivers to death, right? Didn't know nothing about hours of service, laws. I knew none of that. I just knew how to get a truck from A to B.
Right.
And I said, you know what? I need to learn a little bit more. So I got my CDLs, and I started driving at Western Express.
Okay.
Drove there for 2 years as a driver trainer.
Okay.
I was there for 6 months, and I became a trainer. I was one of their fastest trainers that they hired at the time. They usually want you to have a year experience.
Got you. What was it about the speech that what George was saying that really attracted you to the industry when he was up there talking?
He was just talking about how broad it was, you know, with the international stuff, the airplanes that they do, the rail systems, and just to see him, it wasn't even what he was saying. He could have been talking exactly.
But just seeing that black
just
man
seeing that young
up there
black man
in that position of power.
In that position is everything I wanted to be.
Right.
Because I've always had on shorts, cleats, helmet, shoulder pads.
Yeah.
And at this point in my life, I have a real challenge with myself that I have to prove to myself that I'm more than an athlete.